their enduring connection to their home. Okay, I do have a few announcements. First of all, our congregational meeting is next Sunday following the service. Please plan to stay. We want your input, and we need enough people here to satisfy the quorum requirements in our bylaws. Buildings and Grounds has advised us that there will be a private event at UUCSB on June 6th from 3 o'clock to 8 p.m. If you have a meeting scheduled, please either move the date or meet elsewhere. And we are looking for a couple of good men or women to be our delegates at the UUA Assembly in June 18th through 22nd in Baltimore, or conveniently you can attend via Zoom, and I think the maximum time we would need you would be about 4 hours. So if anyone's interested, please see me or Fletcher Walsh today. And now, let the service begin.
Well, good morning. June 1st. The time is gone. Our opening words this morning from Unitarian Universalist Gary Kowalski. With faith to face our challenges, and with love that casts out fear, with hope to trust tomorrow, we accept this day for the gift that it is, a reason to rejoice. Thank you, Diane. Please rise as you are willing and able, and join in singing our opening hymn this morning, hymn number 207. Number 207. Please be seated. Our responsive reading this morning is by UU Barbara Deming, number 570 in the back of the gray hymnal. number 570, and we will read it responsibly. It's Prayer for the Earth. Spirit of love that flows against our flesh, sets it trembling, moves across it as across grass, erasing every boundary that we accept, and swings the doors of our lives wide.
This is the prayer I sing, save our perishing earth.
Spirit that hears each of us, hears all that is, listens, and hears us out.
Inspire us now.
Our own pulse beats in every stranger's throat, and also there within the flowered ground beneath our feet.
And teach us to listen.
We can hear it in water, in wood, and even in stone. We are earth of this earth, and we are bone of its bone.
This is the prayer I sing, for we have forgotten this, and so the earth is perishing.
All right, this is the time in the service when we invite you to come up and share a joy, a concern, or sorrow. I put the water in the bowl, the stones. Yes, I know. Don't you dare. Anyway, I'm forgetful. But the water's in there, and the earth is here, and the stones, and the fire is there. The elements are here, and you are here, most importantly. And so the floor is yours. Let's not all rush up. Really? Well, let me start. You can never tell. Does anyone need me to bring them? Yes, okay. This stone is for those of you who, for whatever reason, decided not to come up. Just know that we keep you in our hearts and minds and thoughts and prayers. Okay. I invite you to join in the spirit of prayer and meditation, and we will have our time of quiet afterwards. This is called faith in existence. In the blessed peace of this holy hour, we come together as a community of faith. Here we come to be fed, to drink the living waters, to feed at the table of tradition, to partake of the wisdom of our companions. The faith that we share is not a commonality of belief. not the creedal precision we have left behind, not the suspension of reason. The faith we share is a fundamental confidence in life, a basic trust in human existence, an affirmation in the worthwhileness of the human enterprise. Our faith is knowledge that there is more to life than eye can see and ear can hear, than thought alone can grasp. Our faith is an affirmation of our human capacity to respond to all that fate flings against us, and yet still proclaim to all that life is good. Our faith is in the meaning of the past and the openness of the future as they meet in the now, in the eternal present. Our faith is in that great mystery of things in which we live and move and have our being. May we be faithful to the best that is in us, knowing how hard that is to do, and knowing there is no other way to live faithfully. And now that our minds are one for this brief moment, I leave you with the eloquence of silence. And so it is. And now it's time for the Spirit's offering. I'm changing something in the sermon, so just, yeah.
You always do.
Yeah, but I should have done this before. Anyway, I'll just make it up. Yeah, I'll just change it. Just give me a moment. So, what I'm talking about is choices. And just, life is choice. Life is choice. I think any genuine spiritual teaching, metaphysical teaching, philosophical teaching will remind us that our life is made up of our choices. Even when not making a choice is a choice. And I know sometimes I find myself, I want other people to make the choice for me. Sometimes that's just me being lazy, but I don't want to be responsible. I don't want to be accountable. I mean, I don't think that while I'm doing it, but it's just like that if it screws up, I'll go, Scott told me to do this, or whoever it is. And I think we all do that. And I was talking to my wife, I wanted to hear what a therapist had to say about it, and she was telling me that there's data to support the fact that people get overwhelmed and stressful when they have too many choices, which I thought was interesting. But I never looked at it from that angle. I just know that I have more choices in the ice cream I buy or the jeans that I buy than who I want to be president or something. You know what I mean? I only get two choices. So I think something's fundamentally wrong with that in a way. But I'm thinking about choice and where those choices can lead. As you know, Larry and I facilitate a class on A Course in Miracles. And so I was thinking about, what does the Course say about choice? And A Course in Miracles emphasizes that the primary choice in life is to choose love over fear. It seems like there are a lot of options, but when you cut away the fat and spit out the bones, those are the two choices you have every day. Do I choose love or do I choose fear? And it teaches us that we often perceive a multitude of choices, when in reality it's only those two. Because to choose love is to choose our true nature, and it is to put the ego aside and those illusions of separateness that we've come to believe. And so the ego's desires and judgments are rooted in a distorted view of reality. And when we choose love, we dismiss that reality. So I want to share two poems with you before I get into the meat of this thing. And because I'm talking about choices from a collective, as in our species, and from an individual point of view, because sometimes we have to make choices that the rest of our species and society may not deem fit, and sometimes vice versa. This one is more about romantic choices. Again, we can all relate to that. Who's going to be our partner? Who's not? I'm spending my life with this person. What does this mean? This is called Hard Choices by Jehovah Mansell. A path is laid out ahead. It forks before your feet. A decision filled with dread, uncertain of what you'll meet. A game full of chance, of many hidden pitfalls. To find true romance, dare you risk losing all? Choice is never easy to make. Fog seems to cloud your way. You fear making a mistake, of gambling or losing the day. But life is full of hard choices, and risk is part of the game. Be brave. Ignore doubting voices. Make the choice. Your life will never be the same. The road not taken. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other, as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and it wanted wear, though as far for that passing there had worn them really just about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden back. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how a way leads on to the way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Okay. Some of our leaders forget, whether we're talking about the Paris Climate Accord, which I was going to touch on a bit, but we can move on. We know what happened there. But they seem to have lost sight, and this is globally, that the illusion of separateness will most likely doom us. And I was going to go into that a little more, but I don't want to now. But you get what I'm saying, that this belief that we're separate from each other, this belief that we're separate from the planet, this belief that everything, we're so other-aided, even if you believe in a God, well, that God is way out there, that we seem to distance ourselves from each other. And I was thinking, I'm a Trek person, Trekkie, and so I was thinking of Star Trek's Captain Picard, portrayed by Patrick Stewart, says that life is indeed a series of decisions. That's basically what life is. And so this requires making choices. In the instance I was going to refer to in more detail about where the world's leaders seem to be taking us, it's a myopic, nationalistic kind of view. It's not about the unity that we know we need, that we are seeking, because our survival is at stake. It's a very us versus them kind of Weltenshung. And so this myth of separation, there's no concept of interconnectedness in their consciousness. And so here we are in 2025. And they're not alone. But the fact of the matter remains that we have choices to make in life, and we will be held accountable for those choices. Even not making a choice is a choice. So let's look at the wisdom teachings of our ancestors, the Aboriginal peoples, First Nations people. Let us use as an illustration the wisdom teachings of these people. The lives of First Nations people revolves, and I don't want to over-romanticize them, okay? They had their flaws. They never argued about religion, which is remarkable. But they had their flaws, but they did know that they had a concept of what was sacred, what was beautiful and powerful, and how it related to their existence. So in short, the ethics or moral values of native peoples are part and parcel of their cosmology, their whole worldview. If we could merge our advanced technological capacities with this worldview, if we could just even try to do that, we can learn to respect the limits of the earth and bring our global civilization back into balance. That's what I believe. but it's a matter of choice. And we know about this because you and I, we know about nature. We know about human nature. We know. How many times have you either said or heard this about someone, she's my rock. She's my stability. Or, she came into the room like a whirlwind. She came in like a tornado, like a force of nature. Maybe you have said this or you've heard this. Did you see the twinkle in his eye? It was like a star. Did you see the twinkle in his eye? See, we know about nature and being part of it and being separate from it. Our human nature is a part of nature, and we just have to make the choice to become more familiar with it. In our highly technological culture, time is not viewed as cyclical, which it is. I mean, yes, we know time doesn't really exist, but we're in the human body, we're on planet Earth. You got to kind of walk in both worlds. But we know that time is not linear. It's not linear. It's also viewed as spatial in our culture, meaning you can run out of it. You can waste it. In fact, time is viewed as money. We are constantly chasing after what we call progress. But progress is not a goal. Well, it's a technological goal. It's not a spiritual goal. It's a technological goal. See, look what happens. This is the world we made in the name of progress. Like the 12 steps remind you. This is our best thinking got us here. This is the best. The best minds have brought us to the precipice of this. But there are other concepts of time as well. Native peoples, as well as other evolved peoples. Because remember, you can be evolved and still be flawed. They're not mutually exclusive concepts. They don't conceive of history or progress and redemption or decline and fall. For them, the multiverse that we live in is a sacred continuum. So you and I are on an ongoing journey, whether you are in the body or not. And there's only one holy moment. It's just infinitely extended. This way of time is as equally valid as any. The Newtonian physics of the 20th century, and that train has left. In a technological worldview, folks tend to think of humanity, when they take the time, as separate from nature. Somehow we're above or outside of it. We lose sight of the fact that our abilities and extensions of the gifts are what we receive from the natural world. And perhaps we are now, let's look at it this way, perhaps we are now in a time in history when we are being forced to remember this. So I guess I just want you to think, maybe this is all part of a plan. Maybe. We, as a planet, are in transition between a new world and one that we're trying to leave behind. And the forces of that old world, they're going to cling because the paradigm, they're afraid of change. The paradigm has to change. It will change whether they want to or not. And so we have these old white men who are still thinking that we're living in the 40s and 50s and that it's America and it's all about America and competition, where we're more into a world where it's going to have to be more cooperation and that you cannot be afraid of difference. Difference is what makes the world go round. And so we are in a birth canal approaching the next phase of our development as fully conscious and compassionate human beings. Just speaking even astrologically, you don't have to, in the time of Jesus, that was what? That was the Piscean age, where if you did the 10 Commandments and you did your Hail Marys and you did all that, everything was outside, you could be saved. But now we live in the time of quantum physics. We're going into this age of Aquarius that all prophecies talk about, whether it's Hopi, Christian, Muslim, they call it different things, but there's an end, but there's a new beginning. And so you don't need to do all that. You can be your own savior. You can go within. You can realize this oneness. That's where we're going. We are approaching the next phase of our life. Now, that doesn't mean we won't blow ourselves up. That doesn't mean that. That doesn't mean that a great comet or something will hit us. That doesn't mean that we don't poison the waters. It doesn't mean that. But it does mean we have a choice. Every ending is a new beginning. Every ending. Whether you're reading Revelations, the Hopi prophecies, we could go on and on. They talk about an end of an age, and there's a utopia. But that's up to us. And if we don't watch it, we're going to get to a point where only a God will be able to save us. We have some decisions to grapple with. Howard Thurman says that there is a crown held over our heads that each day we are striving to grow tall enough to wear. I love that idea. And quantum physics is telling us, and so what they're telling us about what is real, that whatever I look at, not only am I changing it, but it's changing me. So the whole Newtonian thing has been thrown out. So we're realizing the union of Western science and Eastern metaphysics. And in the Middle Ages, science emerged out of what was thought of as magic and alchemy. Science began with the observation of the outer world, with the observation of physical phenomena, what I can see and touch, and we observed everything outside of ourselves. But now it's slowly we're turning inward. You know, bad religion has a lot to do with this as well. But now we're rediscovering. There's no such thing as New Age. This is old wisdom being rediscovered, and so it's new to us. So now we're working from the inside out, and it begins with our subjective experience, the phenomenology of perception, and then it opens up the whole world in a different way. This is part, like the Taoist symbol. You got a little light in the dark and a little light in the, and it's in a circle. That's what we're talking about here. And so this is the part of the prophecy of our time. Every ending is a new beginning. Everyone. Every ending is a new beginning. It's just a matter of choice of how you want to look at it. Our thoughts create our reality. That's not philosophy, that's physics. It's not just Michael's opinion, this is what we're being told. When we raise our consciousness, the world shifts correspondingly. How many times have you been in a situation, maybe you don't get along with someone, and you just say, today, I'm not going to let them trigger me. I'm going to come from a higher place with this person, this child of God. and you encounter them, and you go, oh my goodness, that went a little better than I expected, and nothing changed except your attitude. And when your attitude changes, you change the world. This is the basic of all genuine spiritual paths. That I have to change my perception of things. Buddhism and Hinduism call this world Maya. And Maya means illusion. Carl Jung saw the world as a projection of the psyche, a parable of the imagination. And so my message to you, when we talk each and every Sunday, there's always a kernel of this in my talks, is to get you discover what is real for you, and to hold on to it despite the upheavals and the noise noise around you, despite CNN, despite Fox News, despite what you're reading, because that will change and that will go up and down. And if you're not grounded in whatever it is you believe, you're going to have a problem. Because every time you read something or hear something, you're going to be choosing fear and worrying about things that haven't happened yet. These things will always come and go, but you want to hold on to what is real and unchanging. And this is what gives you what the Christians call the peace that passes all understanding. People can't understand why you're so peaceful. You don't have your head in the sand. You just kind of know. Listen, there's some things that were true 5,000 years ago, and there's some things that will be true 5,000 years from now. And one of those things is that what you put out, you get back. And if you're going to put out fear and racism and all this other mess, that's what you're going to see. And that's what's going to come back to you. You can no longer allow yourself to be carried on with this manipulation of fear. Because if I know what makes you afraid, I control you. And you are a slave. Humanity has reached a juncture where in order to survive, we must become co-creative with the evolutionary process, influencing it and shaping it. And we must become accountable and intentional. I get up in the morning, and I do this most mornings, and I see the day I'm going to have. And 99.9% of the time, I do. That's how powerful we are. And when it doesn't happen, I have the strength and the wherewithal and friends that I can navigate it. But I can project, and so can you, if you take the time. There are many ways to do this, as there are many paths to self-knowledge and happiness. You don't have to study psychic phenomenon or astrology. It doesn't hurt, but it's not necessary. It does not make sense to separate the so-called spiritual world from the political world. They're not opposites, because you're going to live what you believe. I know what you believe. You can tell me I'm in Bible study every Wednesday, I'm at the shul on Friday, I'm in the mosque, I'm on church on Sunday, but if you treat me like I'm something that you just scraped off the side of your foot, I know what you believe. And you know what I believe. This is how we got into this mess in the first place. And I believe that this is the fatal flaw that we have in our thinking, and that we inherited it, and from bad religion. Not just from bad government, but religion. You know, we've been taught a whole bunch of stuff that we have to unlearn. That's why you became Unitarian Universalist. Right? I mean, I'm hoping. We need to make a choice to change our paradigm. So we need a new way of thinking. Remember, we talked about evil last week, and we talked about Hannah Arendt, who said that evil really comes from being too lazy to think. To just believe everything somebody tells you, because we don't want to make choices. We want somebody else to tell us what to do. It's just easier that way. I get that. But look where we are. So we have to change our paradigm. We need a new way of thinking as a species, because if not, we can't keep doing this. We keep thinking that if we just change some things, that everything will get better. But no, we cannot sustain our religious and political philosophies. We can't. They all have to change. I don't know the answer to that, but you have to make the choice about what you want to do. If I had that, we could split the Nobel money. We could be in Cancun. But I don't know. But I do know that other saints and avatars and wise prophets, men and women before us, they lived in the world like this. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. We have more technology, but they had to go through this too. If you lived in Rome or Babylon, I mean, it's a hot mess. They didn't have the technology, but they had to deal with crazy leaders. They had to deal with pole shifts and tornadoes and bigger hellions than we went through. We need to make a choice. Life just doesn't endure. Life either flourishes or blooms. If not, it stagnates and dies. Those are the choices that we make. We cannot keep saying that, this technological world we live in and the militaristic and capitalism can be reformed. No, this is it. Winston Churchill said that this is the worst form of government, but it's the only one we have. But we can't sustain this. And so, the focus should not be on accumulating wealth, but a fair distribution of it. We can do this now if the powers that be wanted to make the choice. But the goal of such a system that I'm talking about would be to live in harmony with the planet. A different lifestyle. People go to mindfulness workshops. I have no problem with that. They work for Apple and Google to boost their work efficiency. Spirituality has become trendy, which is why a lot of people don't like the word or even want to use it. Westernized Buddhism and yoga enables you to fully participate in the frantic pace of the capitalistic game, but you're telling yourself that you're not really influenced by it. Did you ever see this? It was on Facebook. Gandhi comes back and he goes to a yoga class, and these young ladies are trying to teach him how to do yoga, like he doesn't get it. It's so westernized that we forget, well, this started in India. You know what I mean? It's a mess. Marxist critic Slavoj Zizek says that the message in bestsellers like The Power of Now, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, and The Secret has become the hegemonic ideology of global capitalism. I'm not sure I agree with that, but I get to what he's saying. We take what is sacred and we make money on it. We make money on it. Oh, that's right, Gandhi was in a hot yoga class. Now, it wasn't about hot yoga, sweating, losing weight. It was about opening up and getting your chakras going and opening up. And now they're trying to say, this old man, what does he know? That's what westernized, that's what we do. We make $1 off of it. And many baby boomers, I don't care if you go to a tantric session. You can enhance your orgasms. I have nothing wrong with that. But your ego's involved, and you got to do some sacrifice in order to go there. You know what I'm saying? It's more than about that, the whole tantric thing. And so I don't care, do it. Well, I want you to be happy people. But that you got to go a little deeper than the 3-day workshop. You got to go a little deeper than that. And so, more power to you. But we need to wake up. We need to wake up for real. Not because of the inner work that makes us feel good, but we need to wake up because the Arctic is 35 degrees warmer than it was in 2020. That's why we need to wake up. We are polluting every ecosystem on the planet. Our future and our children's future depends on the choices that we make. So self-interest has to be overcome. And we can see ourselves as ambassadors, as midwives, as secret agents, assisting in birthing this new world that we say we want to see, this new human society. We can evolve into the new human being, but sacrifices have to be made because you and I are healers. We're healers. And you may not want to own it, but that's what we are. And so we have to act together, not because, as our hymn says in the Great Hymnal, that we would be one. We are one. We are one. We see it happening now. People are waking up. You're just not going to see it on MSNBC. You're not going to see it on Fox. You're not going to see it there because that's not what it's for. We don't want you to see that. We want you to say that the world is fearful. You need to lock your doors. You need to watch out, Michael. Watch out. They're looking for you. Get out. Get it. What? Did you see it? Did you get it? As the old world collapses, people will choose demigods. They will choose hatred. They will pursue short-sighted goals that will further damage the earth. That happens in every age. They need to be shown another path and the courage to take it, but we can't force them to do it. They have choices to make, too. They need to be shown, but we got to do a little more than kumbaya and imagine and we shall overcome. That's not going to work. It worked in its time. So whatever you call it, God, Creator, Allah, the artist formerly known as God, the great architect of the universe, the prime mover, call it, but there's a consciousness that we all come from. We are one. Gandhi and King remain revolutionary because, King believed the kingdom of heaven needed to exist now. Gandhi built a whole mass nonviolent movement based on the principle of satyagraha, which is soul force. So we have the tools, we have the examples, because in the words of Dr. King, it's either nonviolence or non-existence. That's where we are now. We must change the way we think. You fake it till you make it. So we change the way we think and act. This is what we face now. And it's all a matter of choice. Choice, not chance, determines our destiny. May it always be so. Please rise as you're willing and able, and our closing hymn is number 298. Wake now my senses, number 298. Some love, some beautiful. We've been blessed this morning by who we are and by the hope and promise inherent in our community. We can build something here. We already are. So just remember that hope and promise. Remember that you are unique and a needed part of it, meaning we need to see you next Sunday. Not because we need your body here, quorums, we need that, but because if you're a member, you want to vote, you have a say in where we go, so make the choice and exercise that membership right. Live in beauty, tell its story, go in peace. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Another good one.